Caitlyn tried to flop. She tried to flop on what happened. Like, that little shoulder bump, it was not that serious. Okay, Caitlyn, I need you to be all the way serious and for real, okay? You fell down, the first thing you did is, whether it's your privilege, whatever it is, but you're weaponizing how people view you and are talking about you when you say something like that.
And this is a WNBA reporter, people, but it's like you can't say something like this and not get called out. And she is definitely getting called out. And Natalie Esquire is not new to putting down the efforts of Caitlin Clark and what she has accomplished in the previous season. Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding. She's also a big Aces fan.
An ESPN reporter's careless remark that misrepresented Caitlin Clark's name, her intentions, and ignited social media was the first step in the incident.
Caitlyn tried to flop. She tried to flop on what happened. Like, that little shoulder bump, it was not that serious. Okay, Caitlyn, I need you to be all the way serious and for real, okay? You fell down, the first thing you did is, and you looked to the damn ref to give you what? That's what happened. That's what she always does, right? She's always falling to the floor, and then people acting like it's mad hard. Pay attention to what she did in college. That is what she did. She's from the LeBron school, the Luka school, the Harden school. They try to sell fouls, right? I would say that her coach did not do a good job preparing her for the physicality of what was to come and what to expect in the WNBA. So yeah, I'm kind of saying, like, this is not that deep. It's a little hip check.
In a startling change of events, Caitlyn didn't just brush it off this time. Instead, she retaliated forcefully. Within hours, it had grown into a maelstrom of false information, clickbait headlines, and hateful stories that had nothing to do with her true self, according to...
He was asked about Caitlin Clark.
Coach Krzyzewski, listen to what he said.
Yeah, well, she's terrific. And it'd be easy to build something on her because she's the best thing she does is pass. She's a magical passer and she has a great feel for the game. So, I mean, what her coach did, I would have done exactly what she did. Make sure she handles the ball and she'll make everybody better. And what I was amazed with at how she's handled all the defenses. And then when she got into the WNBA, some of the negativity that was out there or jealousies. And I think she's just been remarkable. She's a really good basketball player.
Accusing them of disseminating false information that might harm her legacy as well as her career. And now the sports media community is rushing to clear the mess. Let's examine what actually transpired, why Caitlyn filed the lawsuit, and how a single false claim became a national controversy.
Now Caitlin Clark has been getting comparisons to the most famous person in the world at this point in time, Taylor Swift. White was giving a comparison to the star status of Caitlin Clark, and she stated this precisely. She said, quote, "She's incredibly humble. She understands the big picture. So she views it understanding her celebrity. She's a Midwest kid, a Midwest person, and she is who she is. She tries to live her life in an authentic way, but she's very much Taylor Swift 2.0.
It all started with a casual comment that shouldn't have passed the ESPN editing room. The reporter, whose name is already being circulated on social media, went on air and suggested that Caitlin Clark was deliberately separating herself from her black colleagues in order to pursue a narrative of a white savior.
Caitlin Clark's popularity is tied to her whiteness. What Nike and Caitlin Clark are known for as of right now is the fact that they have set on Caitlin Clark as what is their most valuable asset. How great would Asia be if she didn't have that mentality? Because she can play. She plays all the time. Nobody watches.
It was a presumptively loaded statement that combined a risky racial picture with intent in a single sound bite that was meant to go viral, and it did so in a matter of minutes after the video began making the rounds on Twitter. A flurry of arguments that were primarily about identity politics and had little to do with basketball were sparked by Reddit and sports bloggers.
You know, I don't know what it is about Angel Reese, but there's been sort of this narrative that started about like the way she dresses. Like she's always showing too much of her body. It's her body, and it's an amazing body. And if she wants to show it off, she's allowed to do that. The crown she wears is heavy. The way, to me, I think, considering all that comes at her, I think she's handled herself gracefully.
People began dissecting Caitlyn's previous interviews, game video, and even her prior social media posts in an attempt to find proof to back the narrative. But what made it worse was the assurance with which it was given, as like this was more than simply criticism.
She was remarkable on top of the fact that she had to deal with so much hate when she got to the WM.
Caitlin Clark, the NCO's golden star and fan favorite, suddenly found herself the target of an agenda she never asked to be a part of. For a while, she remained silent in the hopes that the clamor would subside, but it didn't. Accusations piled up quickly, none of them based in reality, but that didn't matter because the internet was—
Frankly, Caitlin Clark is the best point guard in the history of the WNBA already. Caitlin Clark had tied the WNBA record for most career games with 25 points and 10 assists. No one is scoring and dishing at the rate Caitlin Clark is in the history of the W.
As the ESPN episode continued to air, additional headlines were created, fan accounts shared it, influencers commented, and all of a sudden, people who didn't even know Caitlin were changing her image in real time.
But I love my teammates so much that I will take any hit from them. Good, bad, ugly. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great. It looks great.
I think it's a huge thing. I think a lot of people say it's not about black and white, but to me, it is. It's really because you can be the top notch at what you do as a black woman, but maybe there's something that people don't want to see. Wilson said to the Associated Press.
One of the more interesting aspects of this fanhood is that some of the biggest supporters of Caitlin Clark are not whites. They're actually black males.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, it's not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball. And, like, she understands her privilege and like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment.
And I think in overall popularity, does her race play a factor? Nominal. Women's basketball has had a cornucopia of talented white and black women's basketballers. Elena Delle Donne is white, is she not? Sue Bird, white, is she not? Asia Wilson's black. Cynthia Cooper, black. Like, you can go back through, and it's actually a lot more. There's gay and there's straight, there's black and there's white, there's tall and there's short.
Pressure increased from supporters, sponsors, teammates, and even her coaching staff, who were all waiting for her to react.
She could have just said, hey, y'all lay off Caitlin Clark, let's embrace her. But nope, her frail ass ego was jealous of Caitlin Clark's popularity.
Behind the scenes, according to reports, Caitlin's team was incensed because this was character assassination rather than merely misrepresentation. According to people familiar with the matter, things changed once legal experts were consulted, and every phrase of the ESPN broadcast was examined. Caitlin's team demanded accountability and wanted the reporter to be held accountable for what they perceived to be intentional slander, not just a statement or a PR cleanup.
She hasn't just had a major impact on the WNBA. She's had a major impact on the entire city of Indianapolis. Dr. Ryan Brewer calculated that Clark has made the city of Indianapolis $36 million in her rookie season. The calculation showed that Clark contributed to 26.5% of the WNBA's economic activity this season. If pay raises are in order, Caitlin Clark needs to be the first one getting a pay raise.
Since this was more than just rumors, Caitlin felt that enough was enough and that it had a genuine impact on her reputation, mental health, and possibly her job.
Natalie Esquire says, Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the WNBA. That hasn't changed because she has a down year returning from injury. The disrespect on her name was ridiculous.
There's been a lot of chatter out there that I ain't got it, man. I'm here, man.
But is she better than Caitlin Clark? Statistically, nope.
Natalie, I believe, had said last year that a compromised Chelsea Gray was 10 times better than Caitlin Clark.
Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding. She's also a big Aces fan. When the Aces were losing and they got Chelsea Gray back and they went on a really hot streak, after one game of winning, Natalie Esquire put them from number 6 to number 1 in beating the Liberty, which obviously was not really a good take.
What some had initially written off as just another hot take turned into a full-fledged media disaster behind closed doors the moment it was revealed that Caitlin Clark was pursuing legal action. Insiders claimed that talks were held late into the night as ESPN's legal department went into overdrive, while the network—
Let's get into the stats. Best point guard in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. In her one professional season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark came away with an average of 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds for the season. Let's check out Chelsea Gray's stats. Chelsea Gray averaged 8.6 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 4.9 assists. But let's check out the year before. She did average 15.3 points a game. Not bad, right? She averaged 4 rebounds and 7.3 assists. Still is not better than Caitlin Clark's averages. 2021, 11.1 points. 2020, 14 points. 2019, 14.5. There is not one year where she averaged more points than Caitlin Clark. There is not one year where she averaged more assists than Caitlin Clark.
Attorneys were consulted. When they were creating damage management plans, they understood it would be difficult to ignore this, especially since the leading voice of women's college basketball was now accusing one of them of willfully misrepresenting the facts. According to people with knowledge of the case, the lawsuit claims that the ESPN reporter intentionally disseminated inaccurate information in order to damage Caitlin's rep.
For me, if Rookie of the Year was picked today, I give it to Angel. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
I set the record in 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Because back then, we had a first-round bye. So we didn't get to play, I didn't get that 6 games. So I set the record in 5 games.
Look at her extra game.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can say that.
No, listen. If I have 6 games,
the record's different.
well, I'm gonna have another 30. But I don't really care what the record is, who has the record.
And there was no bluff. This was about setting an example, not just about fixing the record. Caitlin was determined to fight back and use the one language that media giants actually understand, legal action, in order to avoid becoming just another athlete whose narrative was misrepresented for political reasons. Rumors started to circulate that ESPN was contemplating disciplinary action behind the scenes, and some even conjectured that the reporter had been temporarily removed from on-air duties, but
Number one factor in her popularity is her ability and how entertaining she is to watch. That's why she's become internationally popular. That's why the record books have her name at the top of them.
And Natalie Esquire is not new to putting down the efforts of Caitlin Clark and what she has accomplished in the previous season. 7 months ago, when the season was in, Natalie Esquire also claimed that Caitlin Clark was stat padding and posted this on her social media account. Are we going to be upset tonight that Caitlin tried to chase the franchise assist record when the game was already won? I have no issue with her doing it because that's normal behavior and actually what many competitors do. This was obviously in her response to a lot of people going off about Angel Reese's double-double stat padding.
just days before, some fans had bought into the controversy, but now that Caitlin was taking a legal stand, people were revisiting the clip with new perspectives. Was it taken out of context? Was the narrative purposefully inflammatory? Or had the reporter gone too far? This was what made the situation more volatile.
There's been a lot of chatter out there that I ain't got it, and I'm here, man. So, quiet the noise and keep playing my game. Having fun and doing it. I enjoy this game and I love it so much. So, playing with them all the time and they got my back, so have a...
The media's careless portrayal of higher-forming women, particularly those who don't fit neatly into the stereotype, has drawn criticism from notable figures in the sports world, including former athletes, analysts, and even rival coaches. Some defended Caitlin, saying her response was bold and necessary, while others said she was overly sensitive and that criticism is inevitable.
We've got ESPN's ranks of WNBA players right now, and Caitlin Clark is really damn high. Angel Reese ain't nowhere to be found in the top 10. She's not involved. Well, wait a minute now. I was told Angel Reese was like one of the absolute best players in this league. Where is she? She was not in the top 10. And I thought, oh shit, her fans are really going to be mad about this. They're going to be twisted up.
Caitlin wasn't defending herself. Rather, she was drawing a line for all athletes who have been reduced to a headline misquoted or used for clicks without regard for the truth. However, those critics failed to see that this wasn't criticism, but rather a coordinated character attack wrapped in the authority of a reputable platform.
The WNBA has never even been talked about in the past. So now to say that you have somebody whose celebrity is as mainstream and as Taylor Swift, that is actually incredible if you think about it. She drew a WNBA record, 1.84 million viewers to her first playoff game against the Connecticut Sun. And the reason that this is important because this game took place on an NFL Sunday. To know that she did this up against NFL competition also speaks volumes. So after she was eliminated, the ratings nowhere close to what the WNBA experienced with Caitlin Clark on the court. They drew an audience of 929,000 according to ESPN. That's 50% less audience members than the Fever's game one against the Sun. We have seen a tremendous drop-off when Caitlin Clark is not on the court.
Even though Caitlin's camp hasn't publicly confirmed or denied the lawsuit, the legal rumors were loud enough to cause a chilling effect. Reporters in the sports media began to tread more carefully. You could sense it in the coverage. The tone changed. The takes became safer, and nobody wanted to be the next person pulled into court over a careless narrative.
Jealousy and envy and delusion all mixed together. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're delusional. People are watching these games because of Caitlin Clark. Oh boy, if I say what I really think, these black women and these feminist white women are not going to sleep with me. And I may lose my job. They're going to come after my job. We're not in position to say, shut up.
36 million she drove to Indianapolis just by showing up as a rookie and making history. And so I understand her point of view. She wants to probably let other athletes shine. And she also says, like, it's earned, not given. There are other people that can use that spotlight to compete as well. So I think Caitlin, she moves because she knows people follow her no matter where she goes. And she's very strategic about dictating where her value.
Whether a trial is held in this case, the media rushed to change their scripts and disassociate themselves from the controversy after Caitlin made it clear that she would not sit back and let others define her tale. Unexpectedly, Caitlin Clark went back to the floor and played some of her best, most determined, stubborn basketball ever.
I think that experiencing it, I love Caitlin Clark fans, but Caitlin Clark fans is different. They like, she's first house in the gang, like different. They are very passionate people and like they gonna ride or die. Like,
listen, Caitlin Clark is a god to her friends. She does no wrong. Do not play. Do not play with her fans.
Let's just say, C-Square, I'm happy I'm on the right end of it.
We on the right end of the stick, baby. Because
I hate to be.
Listen, they love us right now. But if we go right and left, it's over for us.
Caitlin Clark fans, I love you back, I promise. Please stop. Like her fan. But like, the one thing I would say about Caitlin Clark fans that I can't appreciate, they'll go anywhere she go.
Oh, they gonna travel. She gonna travel.
And
right there. Right there with her.
Like, it's super dope though, because it's like they would literally go anywhere she go, and so she's built that kind of platform. And like, damn, that's lit.
Absence of press conferences, no tearful interviews, simply game after game of making her talent shine through. But the lawsuit had already sparked a discussion about how female athletes, particularly white women like Caitlin, who dominate a field that has traditionally been dominated by different narratives, are portrayed in the media and force the public to consider a bitter.
Right, and that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game, and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that. It's helping all of them, the Taurasi.
The shift was evident as the same voices that had previously joined the slander bandwagon were now taking back statements or conveniently going silent. A few bold ones doubled down and accused Caitlin of trying to silence the press, but that argument didn't hold water because everyone was subject to criticism. However, there is a difference between opinion and purposeful misinformation, and Caitlin's team was determined to highlight the difference.
Caitlin Clark being in the building, 1.1 million average viewers.
That's crazy. Just by her going to the game, it's the second most watched NCAA game. Like, that's crazy. That just shows how popular she is right now.
Fair enough. Like, if Steph Curry showed up somewhere, there would be more posts about Caitlin Clark showing up there. There are levels to fame, and the level of fame Caitlin Clark is at might be up there with the highest levels there are. That is impressive. She's the face of women's basketball, obviously. She ain't even play and she still drew the most numbers. It is actually scary how much of a draw Caitlin Clark is as a player.
Her legal representatives contended that the clip was edited in a way that took her comments out of context and repackaged them into a narrative dripping with racial tension, something Caitlin had never even alluded to in her actual statements. The lawsuit itself reportedly included screenshots, timestamps, and behind-the-scenes footage demonstrating that the narrative spun on ESPN wasn't just misleading, but was manufactured.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin.
There was a chain reaction that ensued. Sponsors started contacting her in private to reiterate their support, and brands that had previously halted campaigns due to caution relaunched them with a newfound sense of vigor. Some even took advantage of the situation to unite around her resilient persona. For example, Nike discreetly used—
Will Caitlin Clark ever be paid by the WNBA what she's really worth to that league? And Aaron said, I don't think that's possible. She's part of a larger player body. They all need to be paid more. She should be recognized for what she has done and what she's brought to the league from an economic standpoint. It's as simple as that. And, a lot of people had a lot of things to say about this. She also went on to say that she's very, very hopeful for the current CBA negotiations and pushing the line forward on player salaries. And the most important thing has always been getting WNBA players paid for what they do on the court. And so it's important to note that, obviously she's not an agent just for Caitlin. She has a lot of WNBA players underneath her as well. And to me, as I understand that Caitlin is, one of her clients, probably, I don't want to say her biggest one, but definitely one that she focuses a lot on, I'm sure. And so she's going to say this. And a lot of people had things to say about positioning just Caitlin Clark, which I agree with, because she's not the only player that brought in revenue. She's not the only player who's bringing in eyes. She's brought in a lot. Her impact is great. But you could say the same thing for the entire rookie class that came in last year.
At games, supporters allowed Caitlin to play while wearing t-shirts that were a not-so-subtle reference to the turmoil she had experienced. The WNBA, which had previously appeared unsure of how to position her in the midst of the issue, suddenly leaned all the way in her face and was back on banners. Her name made headlines once more, and media attention shifted from the rumors circulating about her to her games.
Angel Reese shows up to the Super Bowl.
So it looked like Angel Reese could be seeking attention at this year's Super Bowl.
And you guys never disappoint. The internet does not miss when it comes to Angel Reese.
Caitlin looked like $1 million at the Super Bowl. Real professional. Caitlin looked like somebody our kids could, inspire to watch. There's a big difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I'm done talking about it.
Angel Reese fans are celebrating another double-double. And I do understand a double-double from her and a win, missing your shot.
Along with Caitlin, the court had become her voice. And although the lawsuit still looms in the background, its specifics are closely monitored by attorneys. She didn't say much, but she didn't have to. Every shot she took, every record she broke, and every record she broke was a direct counterpunch to the false image that had been built of her.
I cannot believe this is actually a clip that somebody put out to try to make her look good. This makes her look terrible. I'm shocked. That was pathetic. And then finally, she makes the layup. We're celebrating that? Really?
In a time when athletes are frequently resorted to controversy for influence, Caitlin Clark clearly changed the course of events by using the incident to highlight her unique personality and show the world that she is more than just a headline. Not a pawn, but a gamer, a fighter, and most significantly, a person who won't allow lies to define her legacy.
Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement was huge. It was a huge event. Yes, A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement was on the exact same day. There was no question about it.
What was crazy about this, the numbers were much better than NBA legend Kobe Bryant's jersey retirement ceremony on December 18, 2017. On Iowa versus USC, February 3rd is also the second most watched game in NCAA history, just by her going to the game.
Instead of just responding, Caitlin Clark changed the rules. What began as a careless media smear turned into a cultural reckoning, and rather than crumbling under the weight of it, she rose higher. She didn't plead for pity or cause a scandal. Instead, she arrived with her lawyer in tow and let her game speak for itself.
Caitlin Clark. Agent named Aaron Kane is calling for higher WNBA salaries in the midst of the WNBA. It is the Caitlin Clark effect, I do believe, that has helped to elevate the entire league. So when you look at the salaries league-wide, including Caitlin Clark's, they're very embarrassing. Caitlin Clark was just paid over $78,000 this past year as her salary. When you look at what the NBA players are making, nowhere close. Like, not even a drop in the bucket. $78,000, come on. For a professional athlete, come on. We don't really need to say more than that.
And now, whether the lawsuit is resolved in court or behind closed doors, the same media outlets that attempted to misrepresent her story are being compelled to respect it. There is no doubt that Caitlin Clark delivered a message to all journalists, commentators, and networks. If you come for her with false information, be prepared to face the truth in a way that is unquestionable, lawful, and loud.
Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history. First triple-double in Fever history. The first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month. First player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds in a game. She won Rookie of the Month 4 times. Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times. Single season rookie record for assists. Single season rookie record for 3-pointers. Single game record for assists, 19. Franchise record for most double-doubles, 3-pointers. Career 10 or more assists in a game. Franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game. Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 3-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever, 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. People will say, pay more attention to the other folks. Like, she couldn't do it herself. You know, LeBron has teammates, Jordan had teammates. I understand.
I think that experiencing it, I love Caitlin Clark fans, but Caitlin Clark fans is different. They like, she squares shout out to the gang, like, different. They are very passionate people, and like, they gonna ride or die. Like,
listen, Caitlin Clark is a god to her friends. She does no wrong. Do not play. Do not play with her fans.
Let's just say, C-Square, I'm happy I'm on the right end of it.
We on the right end of the stick, baby, because
I hate to be.
Listen, they love us right now. But if we go right and left, it's over for us.
Caitlin Clark fans, I love you back, I promise. Please stop. Like, her fans, but like, the one thing I would say about Caitlin Clark fans that I can't appreciate, they'll go anywhere she go.
Oh, they gonna travel. She gonna travel.
And
right there. Right there
I just
with her.
think like it's super dope though, because it's like they will literally go anywhere she go, and so she's built that kind of platform. It's like, damn, that's lit.